Welcome back to Switch to Linux. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at how you can install a application manually on Linux. And this should work for any Ubuntu-based, maybe any Debian-based system. If you are an Arch user and this will work on Arch, please let us know in the comments down below. I just don't use Arch, so I can't tell you. Now the application we are going to use is Waterfox because the whole browser world is a little weird, and I'm using Waterfox everywhere where I can, but I don't know of a distro that even has Waterfox in the repos. And if you go to their main page to download it, they really don't actually have any installation instructions. It's like, hey, here's your tarball, have fun with it. And a lot of people, this is what keeps a lot of people from using Waterfox on a system. Now, is Waterfox perfect? No, it's not. But anyway, you can come over here, download the archive, which I've already downloaded. But there is pretty much no other information on the website about how to actually use it. So we're going to be doing this inside of Zorin, and I do apologize, my VirtualBox settings are weird. If I resize the screen, it crashes the VirtualBox for whatever reason. It's something related to Zorin, not the virtual machine itself. It just started to happen as I've been tinkering with this thing recently. So here is my Waterfox tarball. And so what we're going to do is we are going to, first step is simply to extract it. Now I have these steps over here right under my picture. And so you can refer to these. These should work for any application out there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to extract this to the desktop. Now we're going to be doing this through the terminal today. Many of your distros, like the one I recommend, Linux Mint, allows you to actually access your file systems as root in the GUI. That's one of the great things about Linux Mint. Zorin and other GNOME-based systems don't allow you to do that. And so we pretty much have to do a lot of these steps in the terminal. So I'm just going to Control-Alt-T will bring me up a terminal in Zorin. And I'm going to increase the size of this so everyone can see what I am doing. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the desktop. Of course, if you were curious how I just shot in desktop real quick, if you type in the first couple letters in tab, it will autofill. So here you can see that Waterfox is on my desktop and it is a directory. Now, if you just have a simple user, you can actually just take this folder, put it somewhere in your home folder, and make a simple shortcut to this file right here. If I just double-click this file, Waterfox, inside the Waterfox folder, hey, we're running Waterfox. But if you want to do something like set it as a preferred application, install it system-wide, have all of the benefits of a lot of your other systems, including having it automatically show up in the menus, that's what we're going to be doing. So, your first step here is we're going to be bringing up our terminal. Once again, if I can get to my terminal, there we are. All right, so with our terminal, what we're going to do is we have to do this with sudo because we're going to be accessing things inside of root file structures. So doing sudo and mv is going to move my folder, and my Waterfox folder, I'm going to move it to /opt. So the opt directory is reserved for things that are things you're adding onto a system that are not system, installed by the system by default. So if you look in your opt folder, you've never messed with it, it should be empty. So now we're going to go to that directory. So you can see that Waterfox is in there, and we are actually going to confirm that by going into the GUI, just so you can see kind of what we're doing on a couple different ways, especially if you're new here. So this is the folder, which is basically the root system folder. Everything in here is all you need root privileges to access it. So this is where we have dropped that folder. All right, now the next place we're going to go is we're going to go to user, USR. We're going to go to share, which is in there, and then we're going to go to applications. So this is actually where all of the system-wide applications appear. Now what we're going to do is we're going to manually create one of these reference points to be used by the system. So what we're going to do is we're going to change our directory again, and we are going to go to usr/share/applications. So now if I do a directory listing, you'll see that we have a whole lot of file.desktop. That's essentially what we need to create. So we're going to come in here and we're going to create nano we need to do sudo first. So sudo, which tells us that we're doing this as a super user. Nano, which is a web or a terminal-based text editor. And then we're going to create the file waterfox.desktop. Okay. Now, if you do nano in a file name that's already named, it will just load up that file. If you do it with something that's not there, you'll see that down here in the center bottom, it says a new file. So what we have to do is, following this format that I have on my screen there that you should be able to see, you can do a block quote and call this a desktop entry. And I'm going to double check everything. If you have something incorrect here, it's going to totally mess us all up. So we're going to do name, and we're just going to give this the name as it's going to appear in the system. It's Waterfox. And we're going to do a generic name. And this is a name that's used somewhere else, and I don't really know where, but it's part of the code. So you might be able to leave this out, but I would not recommend it. So, and just once again, I'm going to double check everything. This is actually the second time recording the video. I'm like, why is this not working? I had a couple spelling errors. Whoops. So execution exec is telling us our executing directory, which is opt/waterfox/waterfox. All right. And I actually have this functioning on my other system here. I have a mirrored system to make sure everything's working right. So I'm just going to be looking over here and referring to that. So that tells you your execution directory. The next line is terminal, and this can either be true or false. This will determine if you have true listed here, it's going to open a terminal and then run this application through the terminal. We don't want it to do that, so we're just going to hit terminal equals false. The next thing is icon. Now, inside of these files, what you should find in many of these is you should find a icon. So in this, it's under Waterfox folder, browser folder, icons, and they've given us a nice icon here. Okay, so this is the directory we want, opt, Waterfox browser icons, and then we want the name of this icon here. So actually, I think if I remember correctly, I should actually be able to come into properties and just copy all that. Hey, look at that, I can. Hopefully. Just gonna copy that. Just make it a little easier. So of course, hold Shift, Control, and V, and that'll paste that in. So opt, Waterfox browser icons, and then of course the name of this is mozicon128.png. Okay, and just double check that. mozicon128.png. Good. The next line is, this guy is under a type, and we're going to call this an application. And our next one is categories. Now, under your categories, there are a variety of different categories that will appear. Application, I believe, just puts it in the main menu. Network tells it to put this in your internet folder. And then I believe X Developer will put it into the development menu. So you could actually, if you wanted this to appear in multimedia, you could put that in there. And we're going to put a semicolon after each of these. I'm just going to double check everything is correct. Of course, missed that one there. All right, now there is actually a list of these, which you can see right here. And this is going to be in the notes down below. This tells you what you put under that category for your main list of categories. Where does everything appear? So I have that guy there. All right. The next thing is we're going to do a comment, and we're going to do just Waterfox web browser as a comment. Okay, so just double check everything, make sure that looks good. I might have still missed something, but that's all right. So we're going to hold Control, push X, Y, tells it what you're going to save it as. We're going to do the directory again. You'll now see Waterfox desktop is in there. I'm actually going to come over here. I'm going to go back into my user share applications, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and now we should see Waterfox with its menu, and if I double click it, it should actually open up my browser, which indeed it does. So that is all good. So now with that, I should actually be able to come down into my menu now and see it. So pulling up my Zorin menu, Under Internet, now I see Waterfox. And if I do my main search, I can't do that. Let me see. No, I can't actually do that. I'm just testing what's what. Okay. I can't pull up my main search function here on the system because I'm not maximized full screen, so my meta goes to my main Linux Mint system. But regardless, that should be working everywhere. Now, the next thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to type exit properly. We're going to log out, and we're going to log back in as my test user. And as we log in under my test user, I should also be able to see that. This might mess up the camera. I'm not going to readjust the window view again. I was running into a lot of problems with that. All right, so now under Internet, now even under my test user, Waterfox is now installed system-wide. Now, if I remember correctly, I think that there should be a preferred applications or a default applications. What's it called on this one? Let's go into settings. We're going to see if I can find my default applications. I know on Linux Mint, I can now set this. I don't remember where default applications are on this one. It must exist. I know it does. Not sure where it is on GNOME. But you should now be able to see Waterfox as an option under your default. You guys that are yelling at the screen going, "It's here!" I'm sorry, I just don't use Zorin much. But anyway, I did want to test if that works, and Zorin was a virtual machine I already had installed on here. So that should work for any application. So that has have to take a manually extracted application and install it system-wide onto your platform. You do have to do some of those things in root on this particular system. If you happen to have a system where you can access your file structure as root in the GUI, you can do everything manually like that. That's actually how I do it in Linux Mint. But again, this one doesn't. So it is good to learn how to use the terminal commands anyway. So I hope that's been helpful for you. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can check us out at switchtolinux.com/support. There's some Amazon and PayPal links over there. There's also an Amazon link down in the description below for our link to our Amazon affiliate account. If you want to get some things like coffee cups, t-shirts, or mouse pads, you can check out shop.switchtolinux.com. That will redirect you over to Spreadshirt, where I have a merchant shop where you can pick up some things and browse for some items over there. And I'm also on Patreon, patreon.com/TomM. So thanks for watching, and hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.